Shalom, shalom. Today will be Zechariah 11 to the end. Open your doors, O Lebanon, and let fire devour your cedars. Howl, O Cypress, for the cedar has fallen, because the mighty are ravaged. Howl, O oaks of Bashan, for the dense forest has come down. Listen, the howling of shepherds, for their splendor is ravaged. Listen, the roaring of lions, for the pride of the Jordan is ravaged. Thus said Yahweh my Elohim, I feed the flock for slaughter, whose owners kill them and feel no guilt, and their sellers say, Blessed be Yahweh, for I have become rich, and their own shepherds do not spare them. For I shall no longer spare the inhabitants of the land, declares Yahweh. But see, I am delivering up mankind, each one into his neighbor's hand and into the hand of his sovereign. And they shall crush the earth, but I do not deliver from their hand. So I shepherded the flock meant for slaughter, the truly poor of the flock, and I took for myself 2 staffs. The one I called pleasantness, and the other I called unity, and I shepherded the flock. Then I sent off the 3 shepherds in 1 month, for my being despised them, and their being also loathed me. So I said, I am not shepherding you. Let the dying die, and the straying stray, and let those who are left eat each other's flesh. And I took my staff, pleasantness, and cut it in 2, to break the covenant which I had made with all the peoples. So it was broken on that day. And the poor of the flock, who are watching me, knew that it was the word of Yahweh. And I said to them, If it is good in your eyes, give me my wages, and if not, refrain. So they weighed out for my wages 30 pieces of silver. And Yahweh said to me, Throw it to the potter, the splendid price at which I was valued by them. And I took the 30 pieces of silver and threw them into the house of Yahweh for the potter. Then I cut in 2 my other staff, unity, to break the brotherhood between Judah and Israel. And Yahweh said to me, Take again the implements of a foolish shepherd. For look, I am raising up a shepherd in the land who does not visit those straying, nor seek the young, nor heal those that are broken, nor feed those that still stand, but he does eat the flesh of the fat and tear off their hooves. Woe to the worthless shepherd forsaking the flock. Let a sword be upon his arm and his right eye, and upon his right eye. His arm shall wither, and his right eye shall be dimmed. The message of the word of Yahweh against Israel. Yahweh is stretching out the heavens and laying the foundation of the earth, and forming the spirit of man within him declares, See, I am making Jerusalem a cup of reeling to all the people all around, and also against Judah. It is in the siege against Jerusalem. And in that day it shall be that I make Jerusalem a very heavy stone for all peoples. All lifting it are severely injured, and all the nations of the earth shall be gathered against it. In that day, declares Yahweh, I strike every horse with bewilderment, and its rider with madness. And on the house of Judah I open my eyes, but every horse of the peoples I strike with blindness. And the leaders of Judah shall say in their heart, The inhabitants of Jerusalem are a strength to me, through Yahweh of hosts, their Elohim. In that day I make the leaders of Judah like a fire pot among trees, and like a torch of fire in the sheaves. And they shall consume all the peoples all around, on the right and on the left, and Jerusalem shall dwell again in her own place, in Jerusalem. And Yahweh shall save the tents of Judah first, so that the comeliness of the house of David and the comeliness of the inhabitants of Jerusalem would not become greater than that of Judah. In that day Yahweh shall shield the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and the feeble among them in that day shall be like David, and the house of David like Elohim, like the messenger of Yahweh before them. And it shall be in that day that I seek to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem. And I shall pour on the house of David and on the inhabitants of Jerusalem a spirit of favor and prayer. And they shall look on me whom they pierced, and they shall mourn for him as one mourns for his only son. And they shall be in bitterness over him, as a bitterness over the firstborn. In that day the mourning in Jerusalem is going to be great, like the mourning at Hadad Rimmon in the valley of Megiddo. And the land shall mourn, every clan by itself, the clan of the house of David by itself, and their women by themselves, the clan of the house of Nathan by itself, and their women by themselves, and the clan of the house of Levi by itself, and their women by themselves, the clan of Shimei by itself, and their women by themselves, and the rest of the clans, every clan by itself, and their women by themselves. In that day a fountain shall be opened in the house of David, and for the inhabitants of Jerusalem, for sin and for uncleanness. And it shall be in that day, declares Yahweh of hosts, that I cut off the names of the idols from the earth, and they shall be remembered no more. And I shall also remove the prophets and the unclean spirit from the earth. And it shall be, when one prophesies again, that his father and mother who brought him forth shall say to him, You shall not live, because you have spoken falsehood in the name of Yahweh. And his father and mother who brought him forth shall pierce him through when he prophesies. And it shall be in that day that the prophets shall be ashamed, every one of his vision when he prophesies, and not put a hairy robe on in order to deceive, but shall say, I am no prophet, I am a farmer, for a man sold me as a slave in my youth. And one shall say to him, What are these wounds in your hands? And he shall say, Because I was struck at home by those who love me. O sword, awake against my shepherd, against the man who is my companion, declares Yahweh of hosts. Strike the shepherd, and let the sheep be scattered, but I shall turn my hand upon the little ones. I'm not going to sneeze. Sorry. And it shall be throughout all the soil, declares Yahweh, that 2/3 therein are cut off and die, and 1/3 is left therein. And I shall bring the third into fire, and refine them as silver is refined, and try them as gold is tried. And they shall call on my name, and I shall answer them. I shall say, This is my people, while they say, Yahweh is my Elohim. See, a day shall come for Yahweh, and your spoil shall be divided in your midst. And I shall gather all the nations to battle against Jerusalem, and the city shall be taken, the houses plundered, and the women ravished. Half of the city shall go into exile, but the remnant of the people shall not be cut off from the city. And Yahweh shall go forth, and he shall fight against those nations, as he fights in the day of battle. And in that day his feet shall stand upon the Mount of Olives, which faces Jerusalem on the east, and the Mount of Olives shall be split in two, from east to west, a very great valley. And half of the mountain shall move toward the north, and half of it toward the south. And you shall flee to the valley of my mountain, for the valley of the mountains reaches to Atzal. And you shall flee as you fled from the earthquake in the days of Uzziah, sovereign of Judah. And Yahweh my Elohim shall come, all the set apart ones with you. In that day it shall be, there is no light, it is dark. And it shall be one day which is known to Yahweh, neither day nor night, but at evening time there shall be light. And in that day it shall be that living waters flow from Jerusalem, half of them toward the eastern sea, and half of them toward the western sea, in summer as well as in winter. And Yahweh shall be sovereign over all the earth. In that day there shall be one Yahweh, and his name one. All the land shall be changed into a desert plain from Geba to Rimmon, south of Jerusalem, and she shall be raised up and inhabited in her place from Benjamin's gate to the place of the first gate, and the corner gate, and from the tower of Hanael to the winepresses of the sovereign. And they shall dwell in her, and there shall be no more utter destruction, but Jerusalem shall be safely inhabited. And this is the plague with which Yahweh plagues all the people who fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall decay while they stand on their feet, and their eyes decay in their sockets, and their tongue decay in their mouths. And it shall be in that day that a great confusion from Yahweh is among them, and every one of them shall seize the hand of his neighbor, and his hand rise up against his neighbor's hand, and Judah shall fight at Jerusalem as well. And the wealth of all the nations round about shall be gathered together, gold and silver and garments in great quantities. So also is the plague on the horse and the mule, on the camel and the donkey, and on all the cattle that are in those camps, as this plague. And it shall be that all who are left from all the nations which came up against Jerusalem shall go up. Okay, I'm still tracking. And it shall be that all who are left from all the nations which came up against Jerusalem shall go up from year to year to bow themselves to the sovereign of Yahweh, to the sovereign Yahweh of hosts, and to celebrate the festival of Sukkot. And it shall be that if any one of the clans of the earth does not come up to Jerusalem to bow himself to the sovereign Yahweh of hosts, on them there is to be no rain. And if the clan of Mitzrayim does not come up and enter it, then there is no rain. On them is the plague with which Yahweh plagues the nations who do not come up to celebrate the festival of Sukkot. This is the punishment of Mitzrayim, and the punishment of all the nations that do not come up to celebrate the festival of Sukkot. In that day, set apart to Yahweh, shall be engraved on the bells of the horses, and the pots in the house of Yahweh shall be like the bowls before the slaughter place. And every pot in Jerusalem and Judah shall be set apart to Yahweh of hosts, and all those who slaughter shall come and take them and cook in them, and there shall no longer be a merchant in the house of Yahweh of hosts in that day. Okay. And it shall be one day which is known to Yahweh, neither day nor night, but at evening time there shall be light. And in that day it shall be there is no light, it is dark. There's a lot that's being talked about here. And the Mount of Olives shall be split in two. And your spoil shall be divided in your midst, and I shall gather all the nations to battle against Jerusalem. And the city shall be taken, the houses plundered, and the women ravished. Half of the city shall go into exile, but the remnant of the people shall not be cut off from the city. And Yahweh shall go forth, and he shall fight against those nations, as he fights in the day of battle. He's going to, because they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing in the first place. So is this, I wonder if this is, I mean, obviously, there's not a mountain that's been split in half due to an earthquake, so to speak, but at the same time, I wonder if it's just like half fulfilled whenever the temple was destroyed the first time, the city was ravaged, blah, 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 woo, woo, or second time, rather. Yeah. I don't know. Lots of neat stuff there, though. Lots of stuff about Messiah. Yeah, lots of stuff about Messiah in this one. And in that day it shall be that I make Jerusalem a very heavy stone for all peoples. All lifting it are severely injured, and all the nations of the earth shall be gathered against it. Don't fight Israel. Don't fight Israel. Because even though they may be bad people, and even though half of the city shall go into exile, yeah, even though you might win, God will fight against you because you came after his city. Okay. I love you guys. May Yahweh bless you and guard you. Yahweh make his face shine upon you and show favor to you. May Yahweh lift up his face upon you and give you peace. Thus they shall put my name on the children of Israel, and I myself shall bless them. Shalom, shalom.